8 now. You all gonna learn something today. Let me tell you something. 95% of men, yeah, I said it, 95% of men out here, they chasten women who do this. Now I know what you thinking. You think it's about looks, right? Booty, body, beauty. That's what you think. But let me break it down for you, Playa. It ain't just about what she look like. It's how she carries herself. When a woman walks into a room and carries herself with quiet confidence, something powerful happens. She turns heads without even trying. She doesn't need to shout to be noticed. She doesn't need to post every second of her life online or fish for compliments to feel validated. Her energy speaks before she even opens her mouth. And here's the thing. Men notice that. Not just any men, but real men. The kind that are looking for more than just something pretty to look at. The kind that are looking for substance, for presence, for peace. See, the reason 95% of men chase women like this is because that kind of confidence is rare. In a world where so many people are trying to prove something, she's just being herself. No performance, no pretending, just presence, and that's powerful. Confidence like that doesn't come from validation. It comes from within. It comes from knowing who you are, what you bring to the table, and what you refuse to settle for. That energy, it's magnetic, and men, especially the right ones, are drawn to it like moths to a flame. Now let's talk about desperation for a second, because confidence and desperation can't live in the same house. A woman who's constantly chasing attention, constantly trying to be seen, who needs likes and comments to feel valuable, she might get attention, but it won't be the right kind. It'll be short-lived. See, that kind of energy says, I need you to make me feel whole. But the confident woman, her energy says, I'm whole already, and I'll only entertain what aligns with my peace. That's a different kind of power. And men feel that even if they don't know how to explain it. Confidence is not arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than everyone else. It's about knowing that you're enough just as you are. A confident woman doesn't compete. She doesn't compare. She's not worried about what the next woman is doing. She's focused on her lane, her goals, her growth. And while she's busy building her life, she becomes more and more attractive without even realizing it. Because the truth is, men are naturally drawn to a woman who knows who she is. They might not always say it, but they respect it deeply. Think about it. When you've got your own thing going, when you're glowing from the inside out, when your peace is the priority, you don't have to chase. You don't have to force anything. You attract, and you attract better because you're not leading with need. You're leading with purpose. That's what separates a woman with quiet confidence from the rest. She's not pressed, she's not thirsty. She's composed, grounded, and sure. And men who are secure in themselves, they find that irresistible. So what does that look like in real life? It's the woman who walks into the room and smiles, but doesn't need to be the center of attention. It's the woman who listens more than she talks, but when she speaks, people listen. It's the woman who wears what makes her feel good, not what's trending. It's the woman who can be alone, but chooses to be around people who elevate her. That's the woman 95% of men chase, not because she's trying to be chased, but because she's too focused on being the best version of herself to worry about who's watching. At the end of the day, confidence isn't just attractive, it's rare. And in a world full of noise, a woman who moves in quiet power will always stand out. Standards, that's the word right there. A woman with standards doesn't need to demand respect. She commands it just by the way she moves. Men can see it, feel it, and trust me, they respond to it. When a woman has clear boundaries, knows what she wants, and refuses to settle for anything less, that energy changes the entire dynamic. She's not playing games. She's not just going with the flow. and she's definitely not entertaining every man who gives her attention. And that right there, that's why 95% of men chase women like her. Because here's the truth, standards create value. When you raise your standards, you raise your worth in the eyes of the right men. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you actually know your value. You're not desperate for love. You're not tolerating disrespect in the name of potential. You're not afraid to walk away if something doesn't align, and men respect that more than you think. See, most men are used to women who bend their rules, compromise their worth, and accept behavior that doesn't match their desires, just to have someone. But when they meet a woman who says, "Nah, I know what I deserve," it's different. It shakes something in them. A woman with standards doesn't chase validation. She doesn't need a man to make her feel special. She already knows she's special. She's not going to accept late night texts with no effort. She's not going to be your backup plan or your maybe someday. She's a now or never kind of woman. And when you meet a woman like that, as a man, you either rise to meet her or you fall off. Simple as that. Because she's not lowering the bar just to keep someone around. Standards don't mean you're being picky. They mean you've lived enough life to know what doesn't work for you. You've learned from past relationships, from heartbreaks, from the times you stayed too long or ignored the red flags. And now you've leveled up. You're clear, and clarity is attractive. Clarity tells a man that if he wants to be in your life, he's got to come correct. That he can't waste your time, manipulate your emotions, or give you half effort and expect full access to you. Men are hunters by nature, but they hunt what they value, and value comes from rarity. A woman with standards is rare. She's not one of many, she's one of one. She's not following the crowd, she's setting the tone. And the man who's serious, the one who's ready to build, to grow, to protect and lead, he's going to recognize that. He's going to chase that because he knows she's not just another option. She's the prize. Now here's the flip side. Having standards doesn't mean being cold or closed off. It means you love yourself enough to not settle. You can still be kind, warm, loving, but you're not going to abandon your peace for a relationship. You're not going to excuse disrespect just to have someone next to you. You've built something inside yourself that no one can take away. That's strength, that's power, and let me say this. When you have standards, some people are going to walk away. Good, let them, because the ones who walk away were never meant to stay. Your standards don't scare away the right man. They eliminate the wrong ones. They filter out the players, the manipulators, the confused ones. And what's left? The men who see you for who you really are and are ready to meet you at your level. So, keep your standards. Don't shrink. Don't water yourself down to make anyone comfortable, because the moment you stand firm in who you are, that's when the right energy finds you. And that's when the right man starts chasing, not because you asked him to, but because your worth made it impossible not to. When people say, "She got it," they're not always talking about her looks, her body, or even her success. They're talking about something you can't quite put your finger on, but you feel it. That it is self-respect. It's how she carries herself, how she talks, how she walks into a room without needing to prove anything. That's the real it factor. Men are drawn to not just surface-level attraction, but the quiet power of a woman who truly knows her value. Self-respect is deeper than confidence. Confidence says, "I believe in myself." Self-respect says, "I know I deserve more." A woman with self-respect doesn't allow just anyone access to her energy. She's not trying to convince people to like her or stay in her life. She's not available to people who treat her like an option. And that energy, it commands attention. It tells a man everything he needs to know without her saying a word. Men respect women who respect themselves. It's that simple. A woman who respects herself sets the tone for how others should treat her. She has boundaries, not walls. She's open, but not vulnerable to nonsense. She's loving, but not naive. She doesn't let charm override character. She watches actions, not just words, and that kind of presence is rare, and real men notice it immediately. Let me tell you something. Physical beauty might get a man's attention, but self-respect is what keeps it. Because beauty fades, trends change, and attraction alone doesn't build lasting relationships. But when a man sees a woman who values herself, who protects her peace, who knows what she deserves and doesn't entertain anything less, that's when he stops playing. That's when he starts thinking, she's different. I can't treat her like the rest. See, self-respect shows up in the choices she makes. It shows up in how she handles conflict, how she communicates, how she walks away when something doesn't feel right. She doesn't stay in places where love is conditional or inconsistent. She doesn't try to fix people who show her who they are. She moves with grace, not ego, and that grace, that calm strength, that's what makes her unforgettable. Grace isn't about being passive, it's about being powerful without needing to dominate. It's how she speaks truth without being harsh, how she holds space for others, but never lets them drain her. She knows that protecting her heart doesn't mean building a wall. It means being wise about who gets in. And when a woman carries herself with that kind of grace and wisdom, it makes a man want to rise up, not because she told him to, but because her presence requires it. Purpose plays a big role in self-respect too. A woman who knows where she's going, who's in touch with her goals, who's building something meaningful in her life. She's naturally focused on higher things. She doesn't have time to play games or chase validation. She's building, growing, evolving, and that sense of direction adds to her it factor. Men admire that drive, especially when it's balanced with humility. She doesn't have to announce that she's powerful. You feel it when she speaks. And here's the key, self-respect doesn't make a woman intimidating. It makes her standards intimidating to those who aren't ready to meet them. There's a big difference. The right man won't be scared off by her strength. He'll be inspired by it. He'll see that she's not going to be won over by sweet talk or temporary effort. He'll know that being with her means showing up fully, consistently, and authentically. So when you hear someone say, "She's got it," understand that it is a reflection of what she's built inside. Self-respect, grace, and purpose. They don't just attract love, they attract the right kind of love. The kind that's built on respect, not control, on partnership, not possession. And that's why men chase women who have that. Because once you've seen it, you realize that's not just a woman you date. That's a woman you build a life with. There's something that sets certain women apart from the rest. Something that makes men pause, take notice, and not just chase, but commit. It's not about looks, money, or status. It's about the energy she brings. A woman who brings peace instead of drama becomes unforgettable to a man who's been through enough chaos to know the difference. Real men who are ready to build, not play, crave peace. And when a woman becomes that source of calm, joy, and emotional stability, she's not just a partner. She becomes a safe place. See, life is already tough. A man is out here dealing with pressure from his job, society's expectations, personal struggles, unhealed trauma. He's got 1,000 things weighing on his shoulders. The last thing he wants is to come home to a war zone. He doesn't want to fight battles at work and then come home and fight some more. What he's looking for is someone who makes home feel like peace, someone who makes him exhale. And when a woman brings that kind of peace into his life, everything changes. Now, let's be clear. Bringing peace doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean shrinking yourself or staying quiet just to avoid conflict. No, real peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the ability to handle them with maturity, grace, and understanding. A peaceful woman knows how to communicate without yelling. She knows how to express her needs without tearing a man down. She knows that love isn't about control, it's about connection. And when she speaks with intention, not with the goal of winning a fight, but with the desire to build something stronger. Drama, on the other hand, comes from a lack of emotional control. It's fueled by insecurity, ego, and fear. And while it might get attention in the short term, it wears people out over time. A woman who constantly creates conflict, who lives in chaos, who reacts instead of responds. She might attract men who are looking for a thrill, but she'll never keep a man who's looking for peace. Real men outgrow drama. They stop chasing excitement and start looking for alignment. Peace is powerful because it's rooted in self-awareness. A peaceful woman has done her inner work. She's healed parts of herself that used to bleed on others. She doesn't need to be right all the time. She doesn't keep score. She's not always on edge. She knows how to take responsibility for her actions, apologize when needed, and hold space for her partner to grow. That emotional intelligence, that's rare, and men respect the hell out of it. When a woman can be a man's peace, he starts to dream bigger. He starts to feel safe being vulnerable, something a lot of men aren't allowed to be in the outside world. He starts opening up about his fears, his flaws, his hopes, and it's not because she's pressuring him. It's because she's created a space where he feels seen, not judged, heard, not criticized, supported, not attacked. That kind of emotional safety is addictive to a man who's been in survival mode for too long. He'll chase that, he'll protect that, and he'll cherish the woman who brings it. Because peace, when it comes from a woman, is one of the most attractive, grounding, and transformative energies a man can experience. So don't let this world fool you into thinking you have to be loud, argumentative, or hard to love just to get a man's attention. You don't need to create chaos to be exciting. You don't need to perform to be valuable. Real men see peace as power. They see emotional maturity as beauty. They see a calm presence as something they need, not just something they want. In the end, it's not always the loudest, boldest woman who wins his heart. It's the one who brings stillness to his storm. That woman becomes unforgettable, not because she demands to be chased, but because her peace makes a man never want to let her go. There's a powerful shift that happens when a woman stops chasing men and starts chasing her purpose. The energy is different. Her focus is different. She walks different, talks different, and glows in a way that's impossible to ignore. And that's exactly why 95% of men find themselves chasing a woman like that. Because a woman who's driven by purpose radiates something magnetic. She's not sitting around waiting for someone to choose her. She's already chosen herself. She's building something, moving forward, and operating on a level that attracts, not out of desperation, but from alignment. See, when a woman chases purpose, she's in her own lane. She's not comparing herself to other women or trying to be something she's not. She's tapped into her own calling, her own path, and that kind of energy draws in real men, not the ones who want to play, but the ones who are building too. Because men who are serious about their life journey want a partner who's serious about hers. They don't want someone who needs constant attention. They want someone with her own vision, her own goals, and a mindset that matches growth. A purposeful woman isn't easily distracted. She knows what she's working toward, and she doesn't let a text from someone who doesn't respect her time throw her off. She doesn't revolve her world around someone's inconsistent interest. Her time is valuable and she protects it. That kind of focus is rare, and men respect that. They may not say it out loud, but they see it. They feel the difference between a woman who's waiting for a man to validate her and one who's already validated by the life she's creating. There's nothing more attractive than a woman who knows who she is and where she's going. She might be building a business, chasing a dream, raising her kids, serving her community, or developing her craft. But whatever she's doing it with heart, with fire, and with standards. She doesn't need to post it all over social media or announce it every 5 seconds. Her purpose shows up in the way she moves, and men are drawn to that quiet, unshakable energy. A woman in her purpose also knows what she won't tolerate, because when you're focused on your growth, you don't have time for distractions in the form of people who don't respect you. You don't allow temporary interest to sidetrack your permanent calling. You start looking at relationships differently. You ask, does this connection align with where I'm going? Rather than, do they like me? That kind of mindset eliminates confusion. It puts the power back in your hands. Men chase that. They chase the woman who's not chasing them, not because she's playing hard to get, but because she's just genuinely focused on something bigger, something higher. And in doing so, she becomes the kind of woman they want to pursue, not because she needs them, but because her energy makes them want to show up as their best self. A woman in purpose calls a man into his own greatness. Her discipline, her ambition, her vision, it inspires him, it challenges him, it raises the standard, and let's be clear, purpose doesn't mean you don't want love. It means you're not desperate for it. It means you'll welcome the right love, but you won't abandon yourself to get it. You're open but not empty. You're strong but not closed off. You're whole, and a relationship is the addition to your life, not the source of it. That kind of wholeness is rare, and real men know it when they see it. So keep building, keep creating, keep becoming, because when you chase purpose, everything that's meant for you, including love, starts chasing you. And that's the kind of woman that doesn't just get attention. She gets respect. She gets commitment. She gets pursued, not because she asked to be, but because her purpose made her unforgettable. There's a different kind of glow that comes from a woman who truly loves herself. It's not about vanity or arrogance. It's about wholeness. A woman who pours into herself, who nurtures her mind, body, and spirit, gives off an energy that's magnetic. Men notice it, and not just in a passing way. They're drawn to it because that kind of self-love is rare. It's not performative. It's not look at me energy. It's a quiet, powerful confidence that says, I know who I am and I'm good with me. That's the kind of woman 95% of men end up chasing, not because she needs them, but because she's already full. See, love isn't just bubble baths and affirmations. It's discipline. It's boundaries. It's the way she refuses to settle for less than she deserves. It's how she removes herself from situations that don't serve her, even if they're familiar or tempting. A woman who loves herself doesn't chase people. She doesn't overextend. She doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. She chooses herself daily, not out of selfishness, but because she understands that if she doesn't value her own worth, no one else truly will. This kind of energy is deeply attractive to men, especially the ones who are looking for something real. Why? Because a woman who loves herself isn't looking to be completed. She's not expecting a man to fix her, rescue her, or make her feel whole. She's coming into the relationship already full, and that means the relationship becomes a partnership, not a project. There's no desperation, no emotional neediness. Just alignment, support, and love that grows from a healthy foundation. Loving yourself means you know how to be alone without being lonely. That's powerful. A lot of people stay in toxic relationships because they're afraid of being alone. But a woman who's secure in her own space, who enjoys her solitude, her growth, her peace, she doesn't settle just to say she has someone. That confidence, that's gold. It tells a man, if you want to be in my life, you need to add to it. And trust me, men take notice of that. Because it sets a standard, not one spoken, but one lived. A self-loving woman also shines differently. She takes care of herself, not to impress others, but because she believes she's worth the effort. Whether it's working on her health, her mental clarity, her appearance, her spiritual growth, she's constantly evolving, and that kind of evolution is irresistible, not because she's perfect, but because she's committed to becoming the best version of herself. That consistency shows character, it shows dedication, and men who are about something, they want that kind of woman by their side. Here's another piece people don't talk about enough. A woman who truly loves herself teaches others how to love her. She communicates her needs without fear. She sets boundaries without guilt. She expects respect, and she gives it in return. That emotional maturity is what sets her apart, and the right man will recognize that instantly, not as a challenge but as a gift. Because he knows that being with her means growing with her. She's not afraid to walk away when something no longer aligns. She doesn't tolerate breadcrumb energy. She doesn't confuse attention with affection. She knows her peace is too expensive to be bought with inconsistency, and that kind of self-worth, that's rare. That's the kind of energy that doesn't chase, it attracts, and the men who are built for something deeper, they'll chase her, not because she's trying to be chased, but because she's become a woman who can't be ignored. At the end of the day, when a woman truly loves herself, she becomes the standard, not by demanding it, but by living it. Her presence speaks for itself. Her energy shifts the room, and her love for herself is the foundation that invites only the highest kind of love from others. That's why men chase her. Because she's not looking for someone to complete her. She's looking for someone who complements the powerful, beautiful life she's already creating. So yeah, 95% of men, they chasten the woman who ain't chasten them. The one who's chasten her goals, her dreams, her God, and trust me baby when you get focused on you. The right man gon' notice, and he ain't just gon' chase you. He gon' catch you and never let go.